Halo, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amalia Clarnisa. I want to explain you about the first material where we learn quality control. Here at the PowerPoint, I have to input the reason why we have to learn about quality control. The first, to assure that processes are performing in an acceptable manner, testing of units and determining if they are within the specification, the final product. Okay guys, do you want to buy a car without pass the quality control? So it is matter why we learn quality control, alright? So here for the next slides about inspection. Inspection is an appraisal activity that compares goods or services to a standard. Do you guys understand what inspection mean? Yeah, for check the product, is it qualified or not? I put the example of the QC checklist is a must for importance like packaging check, the appearance of master carton and unit package, is it how the critical, how the major, is there the damage or missing country of origin, and then how the classification, the sign is explained about the condition. So we move into the next slide. Inspection can occur at 3 points: before production, during production, and after production. Discuss the basic issues of inspection. First, how much to inspect and how often. Second, at what point in the process inspection should occur. Third, whether to inspect in a centralized or on-site location. Fourth, whether to inspect at attributes. Right, we move into the next slide. A lab where specialist equipment might be available to perform curtain tests or to test them where they are being made. We will examine these 2 points in following section. What 2 points that mean? The first, be available to perform curtain tests or test them where they are being made. Okay, inspection is a process and hence subject to variation. Boredom and fatigue are factors that cause inspection mistakes. The cause of letting undetected defects slip through is sufficiently high that inspections cannot be completely ignored. The amount of inspection needed is governed by the cost of inspection and the expected cost of passing defective item. So from that, we can examine the 2 points that we mentioned before. And where to inspect in the process. Where to inspect in the process. Inspect can be applied into the raw materials and purchased part like steel, oil, corn, grain, gasoline, lumber, forest resources, plastic, natural gas, coal, and mineral. So it can be applied into finished product like product in the market table pack like fruits and vegetable, meat, processed foods such as cereal and sardines, everything that packed by market. Okay guys, if you still consider about the example of inspection points at where we must to do an inspection, please give me an example. If you guys wonder, you can look at to our PowerPoint, to our slide here or here. here or here. Okay. This based on the type of the business actually. If this business based on fast food, the inspection points can be placed on cashier, counter area, eating area, building and grounds, kitchen. Okay, and you can read by yourself about the characteristics like what based on what we have to make a sign and something like that.
So I want to explain about statistical process control. So what is it used for? So basically, statistical process is used to evaluate process output to decide if the process is in control or if corrective action is needed. So the next is process variability. All process generate output that exhibit some degree of variability. The issue is whether the output variation are within an acceptable range. The first is, are the variation random? So if the non-random variation are present, the process is considered to be unstable. Corrective action will need to be taken to improve the process by eliminating the cause of non-randomness to achieve a stable process. The second is, given a stable process, is the entire variability of process output within a range that conform to performance criteria. This is involve assessment of the process capability to meet the standard. If a process is not capable, this situation is need to be addressed. Random variation is the natural variation in the output of the process created by countless minor factors, such as the variation are due to the combined influence of countless minor factors, each one so unimportant that even if it could be eliminated. So there's two types. First is random variation and the second is assignable variation or non-random variation. This is referred to as a special variation because this can be identified or assigned to a specific cause and eliminated. So the next is sampling and sampling distribution. The variability of sample statistic can be described by its sample distribution, a theoretical distribution that describes the random variability of sample statistic. The most frequent used distribution is the normal distribution. Then, in the case of sample means, what the meaning of the central limit theorem states. So the central limit theorem states that as the sample size increases, the distribution of sample average approach a normal distribution regardless of the shape of the sample population. This tends to be a case even for the fairly small sample size. And the next is the control process. Sampling and the corrective action are the only part of the control process. Effective control requires the following steps. The first is the define. The first step is to define the sufficient detail what is it to be controlled. It is not enough, for example, to simplify, refer to the painted surface. The paint can have number of important characteristics such as thickness, hardness, and resistance to fading or chipping. Different characteristics may require different approach for the control purpose. And the second is measure. Only those characteristics that can have a count or measure are candidate for control. Thus, it is important to consider how measurement will be accomplished. The third is to compare. There must be a standard of comparison that can be used to evaluate the measurement. This will be related to the level of quality being sought. The fourth is to evaluate. Management must establish the definition of out of control. Even a process that is functional as it so will not be yield output that conform exactly to standard. The 5 is correct. When a process is judged to be out of control, corrective action must be taken. This involves uncovering the cause of non-random variability and correcting it. The last is monitor result to ensure that the corrective action is effective. The output of a process must be monitored for the sufficient period of time to verify that its problem has been eliminated. So, the next is a control chart. Control chart is the time order plot of the sample statistic. It is used to distinguish between a random variability and non-random variability. So, what the purpose of the control chart mean? The purpose of the control chart is to monitor process output to see if it random a necessary but not sufficient condition for the process to be demand. In control, or a stable is for all the data point to fall between the upper and the lower control limit. So, I want to explain about the control chart. In the control chart, there is 3 sides of control. The first is UCL. UCL is basically an upper control limit, while LCL is called as lower control limit. In the middle of between them is called mean. So, when the variation is called a normal variation, will be classified in the mean side, while abnormal variation, or we can call assignable source, who called as the out of control, will be classified as UCL or maybe LCL between the more of UCL and the less of a LCL. Next is a control chart. The first is the mean chart or mean control chart. Sometimes it refers to X-bar chart. So, I want to explain about mean control chart in bahasa. Jadi, sesuai dengan soal yang ada di PowerPoint, kita bisa melihat bahwa terdapat 5 sampel dan terdapat 4 observasi. Pertama-tama, kita mencari terlebih dahulu berapa rata-rata dari setiap sampel. Di sini kita mengetahui bahwa rata-rata pada sampel pertama itu 12.10, sampel kedua 12.12, dan sampel ketiga ialah 12.11, sampel keempat 12.10, dan sampel kelima ialah 12.12. Jadi pertama-tama kita memasukkan rata-rata keseluruhannya dengan memasukkan rata-rata dari tiap sampel seperti yang kita lihat di PowerPoint. 12.10 ditambah 12.12 ditambah 12.11 ditambah 12.10 ditambah 12.12 dibagi 5 terdapat dari 5 sampel yang mana hasilnya ialah 12.11. Selanjutnya kita akan menentukan bagaimana caranya memasukkan UCL dan LCL, upper control limit dan lower control limit. Seperti yang kita tahu, 12.11 diketahui dari rata-rata keseluruhannya ini ditambah dengan 3 terdapat dari Z, yang mana di soal tertulis Z sama dengan 3. Lalu selanjutnya 0.02 kita ketahui dari standar deviasi, yang mana di soal juga tertulis bahwa 0.02 menit. Lalu dibagi akar 4, yang mana akar 4 diketahui dari berapa observasi yang terdapat di soal, yang mana di soal ialah 4 observasi, yakni tertulis UCL sama dengan 12.11 ditambah 3 tanda kurung 0.02 dibagi akar 4 sama dengan 12.14. Lalu LCL-nya 12.11 dikurangi 3 tanda kurung 0.02 dibagi akar 4 sama dengan 12.08. Oke, selanjutnya setelah kita mengetahui UCL dan LCL-nya, kita akan memasukkan mean-nya dari tiap masing sampel. Pertama kita lihat dari soal 1 dengan 1, observasi 1 dengan sampel 1, jawabannya ialah 12.1. Lalu observasi kedua di sampel kedua, jawabannya 12.12. Observasi 3 dan sampel 3, jawabannya ialah 12.11. Dan sampel 4 dan observasi 4, jawabannya ialah 12.1. Lalu sampel kelima dan dari rata-rata keseluruhannya itu, jawabannya ialah 12.12. Lalu kita masukkan ke control chart-nya. Yang pertama 12.1, yang kedua 12.12, yang ketiga 12.10, yang keempat 12.1, yang terakhir 12.12. So, the next is range charts. Range charts are used to monitor process dispersion. They are sensitive to change in the process dispersion. So, I want to explain about range charts in bahasa. Jadi, untuk menentukan range charts, kita harus mencari range. Untuk mencari range, pertama-tama kita lihat pada soal. Pada sampel pertama, value yang terbesar ialah 12.11 dan value yang terkecil ialah 12.08. Dan untuk sampel yang kedua, value yang terbesar ialah 12.15 dan value yang paling terkecil ialah 12.10. Yang mana untuk mencari range-nya ialah value yang terbesar dikurangi value yang terkecil. Jadi pada sampel pertama ialah 12.11 dikurangi 12.08 sama dengan 0.03. Dan selanjutnya pada sampel 2 ialah 12.15 dikurangi 12.10 sama dengan 0.05. Selanjutnya seperti itu hingga sampel kelima. Lalu untuk mencari range, kita masukkan range-nya tadi dari setiap sampel 1 hingga 5 sebagai berikut. Tanda kurung 0.03 ditambah 0.05 ditambah 0.06 ditambah 0.04 ditambah 0.05 dibagi 5, yang mana 5 ialah sampelnya, jumlah dari sampelnya tersebut sama dengan 0.046. Kita harus menentukan UCL dan LCL-nya. Untuk mencari UCL, rumusnya ialah UCL sama dengan D4 dikali range dan LCL sama dengan D3 dikali range. UCL ialah upper control limit dan LCL ialah lower control limit. Lalu setelah itu, untuk mencari D3 dan D4, kita harus melihat pada tabel 10.3 yang ada di PowerPoint sebelahnya. Jadi, pada soal kita mengetahui bahwa sampelnya ialah 4. Lalu, kita masukkan ke dalam tabel 10.3, yang mana pada tabel 4, kita mengetahui dari bagian D4, yakni 2.28. Lalu, pada sampel 4 di bagian D3 ialah 0. Lalu kita masukkan D4 dan D3 nya pada UCL dan LCL sesuai dengan rumus, yang mana D4 kali range sama dengan 2.28 dan range nya ialah 0.046 sama dengan 0.105 menit. Lalu untuk LCL nya ialah D4 dikali range, yang mana D4-nya, D3-nya maksud saya, ialah 0 dan range-nya ialah 0.046, yang mana hasilnya adalah 0 menit. The next is control chart for attribute. First is a P chart. A P chart is used to monitor the proposition of defective item generated by a process. This is the formula of it. So, I want to explain about P chart in bahasa. Pertama-tama, kita harus perhatikan terlebih dahulu soalnya. Lalu, kita menghitung total dari jumlah angka dari defektif, yakni 220. Setelah itu kita harus mencari Z-nya, yang mana pada soal tertulis bahwa 99,74% memiliki kesempatan variasi tersebut dapat diproses. Jadi 99,74 dibagi 100, yang mana hasilnya ialah 0,9974 dibagi 2. Hasilnya ialah 0,4987. Lalu, angka tersebut, yakni 0,4987 dimasukkan ke tabel A, yang mana hasilnya dapat mengetahui Z, yang mana pada tabel A Z-nya ialah 3. Setelah itu, kita harus mencari hasil dari Pi-nya, yang mana Pi sama dengan total number of defective dibagi total number of observation. Pertama, total number of defective hasilnya ialah 220 dibagi total number observation-nya pada sampel ialah 20 sampel. Lalu, untuk setiap sampelnya terdapat 100 statement. Jadi, hasilnya ialah 220 dibagi 20 dikali 100 sama dengan 0,11. Selanjutnya kita akan mencari standar deviasi dari Pi, sama dengan akar Pi tanda kurung 1 dibagi Pi dibagi N, sama dengan akar, seperti yang kita tahu sebelumnya, Pi-nya ialah 0,11 tanda kurung 1 dikurangi 0,11 tanda kurung dibagi N, yang mana N-nya pada soal tertulis each sample contains 100 statement. Jadi hasilnya N-nya ialah 100, sama dengan hasilnya ialah 0,0313. Lalu setelah itu kita mengetahui Pi dan standar deviasi dari Pi-nya, kita akan mencari UCL dan LCL-nya. Rumusnya ialah Pi untuk UCL, Pi ditambah Z tanda kurung standar deviasi Pi. Sementara untuk LCL-nya sama dengan Pi dikurangi Z tanda kurung standar deviasi Pi. Lalu kita hitung. Yang pertama UCL-nya. Pi-nya 0,11 ditambah 3 tanda kurung dari standar deviasi Pi ialah 0,0313, sama dengan hasilnya ialah 0,2039. Lalu untuk LCL-nya, Pi-nya ialah 0,11 dikurangi Z, yang mana Z-nya ialah 3 tanda kurung standar deviasi Pi, yakni hasilnya 0,0313, sama dengan hasil 0,0161. Lalu kita masukkan ke dalam control charge. UCL-nya ialah 0,2039, sementara LCL-nya ialah 0,161. Lalu kita masukkan variabelnya berdasarkan soal yang tertulis di dalamnya. Next is C-charge. When the goal is to control the number of occurrence example such as defect per unit. So this is the formula of it. And then I want to explain about C-charge in bahasa. Pertama-tama kita perhatikan terlebih dahulu soalnya sebagai berikut. Lalu kita perhatikan jumlah dari angka defeknya, yang mana hasilnya ialah 45. Setelah itu kita mencari berapa sampelnya, yakni hasilnya 18. Setelah itu kita masukkan ke dalam rata-rata C, yang mana rumusnya ialah defect total number defect dibagi total sampel, yakni 45 dibagi 18 sama dengan 2,5. Lalu setelah itu kita mencari UCL dan LCL-nya, yang mana UCL sama dengan rata-rata C ditambah 3 akar rata-rata C. Lalu untuk LCL-nya ialah rata-rata C dikurangi 3 dibagi rata-rata C. Sama dengan untuk UCL-nya ialah 2.5 ditambah 3 akar 2.5. 2.5 diketahui dari rata-rata C-nya. Hasilnya ialah 7.24. Setelah itu kita mencari LCL-nya, yakni C ialah 2.5 dikurangi 3 akar 2.5. Hasilnya ialah minus 2.24. Apabila hasilnya minus, kita anggap itu ialah 0. Lalu kita masukkan ke dalam C charge pada control charge sebagai berikut. UCL-nya ialah 7.24 dan LCL-nya ialah 0. Lalu number of defective-nya sesuai dengan yang ada pada soal, dan si rata-ratanya ialah 2.5.
Hello, my name is Katika Chandra Puspita and I will continue the material. This is the process capability. Process capability is the stability of a process has been established. It's necessary to determine if the process is capable of producing output that is within an acceptable range. Three common used terms refer to the variability of process output. The first is specification. Specification is a range of acceptable values established by engineering, design, or customer requirement. The second is process variability. Process variability is a natural of inherent variability in a process. And the third is process capability. The inherent variability of process output relative to the variation allowed by the design specification. In the process capability, there are 4 elements. Capability analysis. Capability analysis is performed on a process that is in control. The process exhibits only random variation for the purpose of determining if the range variation is within design specifications that would make the output acceptable for its intended use. If it's within specification, the process is said to be capable. If it's not, the manager must decide how to correct the situation. Consider the chip case illustration in figure 10.15. Figure 10.15. Process capability and specification may or may not match. In the first case, process capability and output specifications are well matched, so that nearly all of the process output can be expected to meet the specification. Like in the presentation, this is the A process variability seems to just match specification. Lower specification and upper specification is a match. In the second case, the process variability is much less than what is called for, so that virtually 100% of the output should be well within tolerance, like the B picture. Lower specification and upper specification have a distance. And in the third case is, however, the specifications are tighter than what the process is capable of, so that even when the process is functioning as shown, a sizable percentage of the output will fail to meet the specifications, like the C chart. This is the process variability exceed specification. In instance such as case C in figure 10.15, a manager might consider a range of possible solutions. The first is to design the process so that it can achieve the desired output, and then use an alternative process that can achieve the desired output. And this is the example and the solution. The example is a manager has the option of using any one of 3 machines for a job. The process and the standard deviation are listed below. Determine which machines are capable if the specifications are 10.00 mm and 10.80 mm. This is the example 7. You can see what the table, the process and the standard deviation. determine the extent of process variability, the process width of each process, and compare the value to the specification difference. And you can see the table. Like in process A, the standard deviation is 0.16 and the process weight is 78. And the process B, standard deviation is 0.08 and the process weight is 48. And the process C, the standard deviation is 0.16 and the process weight is 96. The next is capability index or CP. To assess the capability of a machine or process, a capability index can be computed using the formula. And this is the formula. You can see the formula. CP is specification width divided process width. Is upper specification minus lower specification and divide of the process. And this is the example and the solution. Compute the process capability index for each process in example 7. The solution is the specification width in example 7 is 0.80 mm. Hence, to determine the capability index for each process, we find 0.80 by the process width of each machine. The results are shown in the following table, and you can see the table process A, B, and C. And this is the continue of the solution, figure 10.16. This is the 3 sigma versus 6 sigma capability. The 3 sigma capability we can call is the process capability and output specification are well matched. Sigma capability is however the specification are higher than what the process is capable of. So even when the process is functioning as should, a sizable percentage of the output will fail to meet the specification. The next is CPK. If a process is not answered, a slightly different measure is used to compute its capability. Its index is represented by the symbol CPK. It is computed by finding the difference between each of the specification limits and min, identifying by smaller difference and dividing that difference by 3 standard deviation of the process. The CPK is equal to the smaller f. And you can see the formula, and this is the formula. And this is the example and the solution. The example is a process has a mean of 9.20 grams and a standard deviation of 0.30 grams. The lower specification limit is 7.50 grams and the upper specification limit is 10.50 grams. Compute CPK. The first is compute the index for the lower specification. Okay, we use the formula is 9.20 minus 7.50 and divide by 3 times 0.30 and is 1.50 and divide by 0.90 and is equal, and equal is 1.89. And the second is compute the index for the upper specification. We use the formula tool is 10.50 minus 9.20 divided by 3 times 0.30 equal 1.44. The smaller of the two index is because the CPK is more than 1.33. The process is capable. The next is improving process capability. Improving process capability requires changing the process target value and or reducing the process variability that is inherent in a process. This may involve simplifying. The might involve simplifying, standardizing, making the process mistake-proof, upgrading equipment, or automating. See table 10.5 for example. And this is the table. Process capability improvement. The method is simplified. The example is eliminate steps, reduce the number of parts, and use modular design. The second is standardize. The example is use standard parts and standard procedures. And the three method is make mistake. And the three method is make mistake proof. And the example is design parts that can only be assembled the correct way. have simple check to verify a procedure has been performed correctly. And the fourth method is upgrade equipment. The example is replace worn out equipment. Take advantage of technological improvement. And the last method is automate. The example is substitute automated processing for manual processing. The next is Tabuchi loss function. Noichi Tabuchi, a Japanese quality expert, holds a non-traditional view of what constitutes poor quality and hence the cause of poor quality. The traditional view is that as long as output is within specification, there is no cost. Tabuchi believes that any deviation from the target value represents poor quality and that the farther away from target deviation is, the greater the cost. And the next is limitation of capability index. Limitation of capability index. There are several risks of using a capability index. The first is the process may not be stable, in which case a capability index is meaningless. The second is the process output may not be normally distributed, in which case inference about the function of output that isn't acceptable will be incorrect. The third is the process is not censored, but the CP index is used, giving a misleading result. And this is the last material is operation strategy. G. Quality is a mere consideration for virtually all customers, so saving and maintaining quality standards is of strategic importance to all business organizations. Quality assurance and product and service design are two vital links in the process. Organizations should continually seek to increase the capability of the process they use, so that they can move from a position of using inspection or extensive use of control charts to a safe start level of quality to one where quality is built into product and process, so that little or no effort is needed to assure quality. The process that exhibit evidence of non-randomness or process that are deemed to not be capable should be viewed as opportunities for continuous process improvement. Process that exhibit evidence of non-randomness or process that are deemed to not be capable should be viewed as opportunities for continuous process improvement. And you can see the figure 10.17. Tabuchi and traditional views of the cost and poor quality. The Tabuchi cost function have a lower spike and an upper spike, but the cost is low. And the traditional cost function is have a lower spike and upper spike, but the cost is high. Okay, that's all our material. Thank you for enjoying the material and